Okay, so I'm just getting things ready, getting organized. So there was an update. This was a 50-50 great update, sad update. They added a roster filter in many seasons, finally. So you can actually build your team like this and have to scroll through each player, which was just bananas to me. It made it unplayable for me. I wasn't sitting there for 40 minutes building a lineup. That's a W. Took so long, but that's a W. The L is that you can no longer, at the lineup screen before you hop into a game, swap out your captain for a player on the bench and keep the boost. The good news is, so far in my testing offline, I pinch hit. This is the Venezuela team. I pinch hit and took out Salvi for Santander, DH swap, and it appears that the team has retained the boost. I put Santander in for Salvi. You can see in the top right, the icon's still there. You can see Aparicio still has the boost. We'll give it a shot. Here's my thing. On one hand, I understand why they did that. That's not how the feature was intended to work. But in the same respect, I don't think it's smart to make that update without doing something in return to bolster captains and the use of them, to boost it. They're really struggling to get people to use captains. I'm trying to get people to use captains, but you're locking a lot of captains behind parallel requirements. Some of these teams aren't that good, and a lot of the captains are pretty shit, except for a few. Doing this, making this change right now is just making it harder for people to use captains. I don't really like that. I think you should have made this change when you had something else to add to. You should make this change when you buff captains. You should make this change when you lower the requirement for captains for TA. No one's getting a set 1 captain to P2 for a below average team. No one's getting a set 1 captain to P2 right near, especially if it's going to get closer and closer to set 3 when you can't use set 1, season 3. It doesn't make much sense. But that being said, I'm still testing this out. The boost is still active. I'm actually going to get myself out here and see if I can go to the next inning and still retain the boost. That's what I want to make sure happens. We'll give it a shot. Gonna get myself out intentionally. Gonna go through a few innings. I know some people said that, like, in the beginning of the game, if you pinch hit or took them out, you would lose the boost. I think if you're asking me here with this update, right? If you're asking me, what could you change about captains to make them more usable? It's plain and simple. Like, I think this has always been the solution. You just start with making the captains better. You want people to use them, you have to understand how they work in the game. Right now, the captains aren't even nowhere near as good as the rest of the cards on their team. Why does every captain have to be so far below? Except some of the new captains, like that Mookie gets pretty decent with it. Cal's not awful. They're better, but it just seems like there's a large discrepancy in between captains. There's a large discrepancy between some of the captains. And then, like, some of the worst captains have the most amount of requirements to use. Like, certain teams' captains, you have to get to P2 for, like, just as an example, like anyone who's from set 1, like a bad team. Let's say like the Royals doesn't have a lot of players right now. You gotta get their pitching captain, I believe it is, to set whoever the set 1 captain was. You gotta get him to P2 to use him. Doesn't make much sense. All right, the boost is still active, by the way. But like the set 2 captain gotta get just P1. But look, those cards aren't even as good because certain teams have more legends than others. That's what I think they need to do with that. And I saw some people making some rumblings on this update about, I mean, because there was other stuff. They made adjustments to like City Connects and stuff, like just detail stuff. And you know, that's pretty much it. And there was some more, it was like a franchise update, but that's not what I cover here. People were making some rumblings about the bottom section where it says no gameplay adjustments at this time. I do find it interesting they keep that in there. People go, oh, why do you even have this in here if you're not making any gameplay updates? Because people are going to keep asking if there's any gameplay updates, and if it's right there, they don't have to ask. I don't think the game needs a gameplay update. Again, I really don't. This isn't coming from #1, please update the game guy last year in me, but this year I think we're good. Like I said, if they're going to make, this is how you know when like you don't really want to go somewhere that bad, like a store to get like a drink or something like that. But like if your friend's going, you're like, you know what, man, I'll take the ride with you. Or while you're there, want to bring me home like a, bring me home like a iced tea or something. That's how I feel with the updates. Like if you're going somewhere, if you're gonna make the update, maybe tweak foul balls a little bit more. But if you're not, doesn't bother me really, to be honest. That's kind of how I feel about it. This is the best gameplay that I've experienced in MLB the Show for a really long time. last few years. As someone who's played every day, you know, we'll work with content as long as gameplay is fine. I still think content right now is the most intricate and detailed that we've ever had. Whether you like it or not, that's up for debate, but I think people don't give it enough chance of a chance. Again, we're in inning 3 right now where the boosts are still active. So, again, I think pinch hitting works. It sucks you have to burn the captain like that, but like you have to burn a bench spot. But at the end of the day, like, it's not that big of a deal, you know, because you don't really use your full bench in the games anymore as it is, which is fine. I don't care about that. People were like, well, what about the bench with the DH? Like, who gives a shit? Like, who cares about your bench? It doesn't matter. Like, they're your bench for a reason. But there's also some captains that, like, you know, if you guys saw the video of the 70s and 80s team, Johnny Bench was accidentally left in the game. The dude went 2 for 2 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Like, he was going off. So there's some captains, like, you know, that are all right. I think the biggest question mark people have with captains when it comes to the actual roster, I think it comes down to, like, when there's a captain for a team that, as an example, David Wright on the cover athlete team, who would fit the team, his 99 would fit this team, but can't be used because he's the captain. His 92 is the captain. You can't have duplicate cards. How do you solve that problem? Another example that directly affected me. I wanted to debut Larry Walker's 99 Booger, the incognito card, on the Rockies team. I can't because the 92 captain is Larry Walker, and that sucks. You can't use Larry Walker's good card on a Rockies theme team, which is like bananas. Now, what's the solution? Make every captain some like niche player that like isn't really a captain potential kind of guy, just for the sake of you know, priority. I don't know. I don't know what the solution. I really don't know. I feel like this is a problem that they may have encountered when they were conceptualizing and putting forth the captains. And they probably were just like, well, we don't really know what to do. Cut our losses. It kind of just seems that way because there isn't any solution for this. To me, it feels like they're just like, it's just a problem that's going to always be there. Like, it's a glaring downside to something, right? That they just kind of like went, whatever. I've seen people say that they need to make programs better as in rewards. You agree? No, I think they're fine. I think they need to make them easier to do. The programs, okay, I've mentioned this before. Program cards, even if they're not 97s or 99s, have the most value they've ever had. Short-term value. They go immediately towards collections. Long-term value. They help you build and fill captain boost teams for theme teams. Those are 2 uses that have never been there before for any card that's a non-99. Every other year, they're always filler. Now they have 2 purposes. My adjustment comes to the length of the program and and streamlining it a little bit better. People don't have time to sit there and grind 1,000 PXP with all these guys and 500 here, 600 here. Reduce it by 25% at least across the board. Every PXP mission in the game should be reduced by at least 25%. That would make it better. But as far as the actual cards go, I have no problem with them. Some of these incognito program cards have fit my teams. They fit certain team builds, and you just have to use them. People are just looking. We're used to the old system of evaluation where you look at a card and go, that card sucks if it was on my God Squad. Have you tried using it in a build? Have you seen what captains that card can fit? Now, Gomes, he put up a great concept on Twitter. If you put that here, Jojo, where it basically says every card should have a section where it tells you which captain they could fit with. That would make it a lot easier for people to figure out where this card could be used to make them better and what boosts they get. That is a fantastic quality of life addition that would be so welcomed in the game. So, for example, Yordan Alvarez, it shows him fitting the arm accuracy team build, eventually Tall Kings probably, but also Astros team. And it shows you each boosts they get. That would be fantastic. Do a little bit of legwork for your players, and it will go a long way. So ultimately, those are my thoughts, guys, on this update and a little bit of things moving forward. But again, gameplay, very good spot in my opinion. I'm very happy with it. I like it. Content, I'm a fan. It needs to be tweaked a little bit more. And you need to streamline the grind, right? A lot of casual people who work real jobs, they don't have time to finish all this shit, man. They feel like they're underwater, right? And then for those who grind like me, it feels like there's a lot of dead time. So it's weird. I personally like it, but that doesn't mean it's best for everybody else. So you got to figure out a little bit of a happy medium, chunk 25% off all the PXP grinds, and I think we have a good deal. Maybe make showdowns repeatable for some people, but who knows? Because they like that. Who knows? I'm all right with how it is now. I think you could get things done on TA online a lot better. And I guess like a C, because that was A and B. A C is like the servers. Really, guys, I really want to see server improvements and dedicated servers on this game. it is riddling co-op. Co-op will be completely unplayable until they get dedicated servers. You cannot operate player to player with 6 different connections in a game. But just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Love y'all, man. Mwah.